Hey, how's it going, you guys? My name is Chris Massey, and I play the detective in Don Toliver's E85 music video. And I wanted to do a reaction video and kind of show you guys a little bit behind the scenes with some footage I have of the music video and kind of like how it was shot. The whole entire first scene is basically shot in downtown LA. They actually had a lot of the guys that did the John Wick movies were actually playing the cops in this one. They actually had the closed street, and I think they had 3 or 4 cop cars, and then also a couple of the SUVs and everything too that they did for the scene. So it definitely is fake. It's not actually real. He never actually got busted and everything like that. So it is, you know, it's all for the video. I know some people out there are probably like, oh, Don got busted by the cops. Go figure, it's police brutality. But it's all made to look this way. And the whole entire music video was actually made to be all shot from basically the body cam perspective, which is kind of a different take for a music video and everything. So pretty much everything you see from like the table perspective of him inside the interrogation scene, the moment I enter into the room, is basically everything shot from my body cam perspective. And it's kind of funny too. I was asking the directors, I was like, hey, do you guys want good cop? Do you want bad cop? Like, where's my area of play like that? And so initially, like, we have my body cam, and then there's also a camera over here in the double pane, like the double-sided mirror kind of thing. So like, hey, just be conscious of that. But then it ends up being the whole entire footage is all from my body cam. And so initially, like, I'm offering up Don, I'm like, hey, here's some cigarettes, try this, here's my offer, put it on the table. He's like, nah, I don't want anything about this. And so, he's going through the song, and then he's like, nah, I don't want the cigarette. Throws away, my offer basically. We're like, hey, sit down, sit your butt down kind of thing. And he's like, nah, and then just going through the song, and then tosses my offer sheet basically back at me. So we actually get into the car chase, which they actually did film it from we had a drone up in the sky for that little part right there. And they actually did this on the freeway. And we had, like I said, close freeway and everything like that, closed scene. And they actually did the car hits right here with the police cars, and then for the whole chase and everything. And like I said, it was all the guys from the John Wick stuff that did all the car stunts and everything like that, and tell him to get out of the car for when he's getting busted right here in this part, just like we talked about earlier. And they do the full takedown. And yeah, so he actually wanted to do, like, initially we have a stunt guy doing a lot of the stuff initially, but then he actually wanted to do a lot of the stunts himself. And it was kind of funny even too, like when we get into the interrogation room, we kind of show him basically like what we wanted to do in the interrogation room, where he initially shoves the table at me and then gets in the altercation with the cop that's in the room behind me too. And he goes, dang, man, this is so cool. Like how many guys get the opportunity to actually do these type of stunts and to do these type of cool things like that, with the helicopter and the police stuff and the interrogation stuff. So it's kind of cool, the fact that he actually was like super grateful and super thankful for actually the video itself and like what we were kind of putting into it. So let's go back to the video. And yeah, so right here, basically his girlfriend is in the chopper and basically is flying around, and she's like, hey, I'm gonna come get you kind of thing. And so anyways, he shoves the table at me right here and gets in the physical altercation with the officer. The girl is like, hey, I'm on the roof, and then they're like, hey man, we don't want any part of this. So we're chasing him down the hallway and ends up going up the upstairs. He ends up coming out onto the rooftop. And then, so initially what had happened was, when we originally recorded this, basically when he jumps onto the helicopter, believe it or not, that's actually Don on the helicopter right there. We had a stunt guy initially do all this stuff, and then Don was actually the one wanting to actually do it on the helicopter, be actually hanging from the helicopter and himself, and be doing all those stunts and everything. When initially, it doesn't really show it that good right here, but that helicopter at least got to like 100 feet above the ground, and Don's holding on to the helicopter, sometimes one arm, sometimes both arms, and kind of crazy. But just a super fun video to be a part of, honestly, and just a cool moment. Just such a cool guy to meet too, somebody that was super thankful. Another little fun thing that we ended up doing was after we got done with the interrogation scene, I got done kind of filming my little part of it. We were messing around with him and his buddies, and we're like, hey, let's have some fun with this. And basically what we were doing was, one of his buddies, he was like sitting in there, and then he was like making offer kind of thing. And so I was like, hey, I need names for every chicken nugget. And then so I had fries, chicken nuggets, and like a burger on this tray. And so I was like, a name per nugget. And then he was like, all right, let me get you. I was like, I got Little Smokey, I got Little Wayne, and like then he was like, I got Little Weed. And I was like, no, I want actual names, not these fake names. And so anyways, we did that little bit. So then his other buddy comes into the room, and we kind of do the same thing. And so I was like, all right, man, I need names per nuggets. He's like, I don't want these nuggets. And I was like, what do you want? He's like, I don't know, but I don't want this. And I was like, what do you want? You want my friend Del Taco? I can get you some Del Taco. And he's like, nah. I was like, what about my friend Mr. Panda? I can get you some Panda Express in here, get you some orange chicken, get you some fried chicken, you know, from KFC, some Popeyes. And he goes, nah. I was like, all right, man. What if I get you some Chick-fil-A? What if I get you some chicken tenders and a shake and a white shorty to go on the side? And he's like, and then so anyways, the whole entire room just ends up busting up laughing and everything like that. And so it was kind of fun. And then I did the same little bit with Don. And so the one I did with Don was a little different. So Don comes into the room, I sit down the thing on the table, and he whispers in my ear, and he's like, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, what do you want? And then basically I would just say the most outlandish thing, basically. And then he'd whisper in my ear, and I was like, what, you want 5 guys? Why do you want 5 guys with you in the, you know, in the cell with you? Just messing around with him and just kind of messing around with the team and everything. And so anyways, we did the bit for like a little bit, and it was just a little fun time just to be, you know, laughing and just having fun basically on this video. So anyways, it was kind of cool. I got done with my stuff. Don was heading over to his next scene, and he's in the Ferrari and everything. Dab him up, and I was like, dude, just had a fun time working with you and had a fun time on the video. I think it's gonna be really fun, and like as you guys saw, it turned out fantastic. So anyways, this is my little behind the scenes of Don Toliver's E85 and my reaction, and maybe a little bit behind the scenes that you guys didn't know compared to some other videos. So first-hand experience. All right, I'll see you guys in the next video. Have a great day. Peace.